What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to be taking a look at the final film to kind of tell us the whole birth of the Beatles aspect for this month, and that is 2009's Nowhere Boy, starring Aaron Johnson, Kristen Scott Thomas, Thomas Sangster, Anne-Marie Duff, Sam Bell, Josh Bolt, David Threlfall, and David Morrissey. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And like I said during the introduction, today's is going to be the final film for the month to kind of give us that before the Beatles story. And this one has even less to do with the Beatles and really just focuses more on John Lennon, 2009's Nowhere Boy. And today our film tells the story of John Lennon's teenage years between 1955 and 1960. Now, for those that don't know, John was separated from his mother, Julia Lennon, when he was only 5 years old. Now, as a result, he was raised by his Aunt Mimi and her husband George, as if he was their very own son. And when John's Uncle George passes away unexpectedly, Julia appears at the funeral service, which prompts John to seek out his biological mother and learn the truth. John and Julia slowly reconnect, and during a trip that the two take to Blackpool, England, John discovers and becomes obsessed with rock and roll music. One day, John is suspended from school, so Julia offers to let John stay at her house during school hours. That way, his Aunt Mimi won't find out, and she won't discover the suspension. During this time period, Julia begins to teach John how to play the banjo, which would become the foundation for his guitar playing. However, when Mimi finally discovers John's suspension, she confronts John and Julia and demands that their arrangement come to a halt. John refuses, though, and chooses to move in with Julia. 1 week later, John overhears an argument between Julia and her new husband, and as a result, he decides to go back to Mimi's. When John tells Mimi that he wants to start a rock and roll band, she takes him out and buys him his very first guitar. John gathers some of his closest friends, and they decide to form a band that they call the Quarrymen. They play their very first gig at a village fete, and after their performance, John Lennon meets Paul McCartney, who auditions for the band by playing the song 20 Flight Rock. Paul is accepted into the band, and shortly thereafter, he and John begin to write songs together. The Quarrymen soon become very popular, and Paul introduces John to his friend, George Harrison, who auditions for and is accepted into the Quarrymen as well. When Julia holds a birthday party for John at her home, John confronts her afterwards about his missing father, Alf Lennon, and asks why she gave him up. John also confronts Mimi, who tells him the truth, that Julia cheated on Alf and refused to work on and try to fix their marriage. When Julia and Alf were going to separate, Alf tried to allow 5-year-old John to decide who he wanted to live with, and John chose his father. Alf had planned to move with John to New Zealand, but when Julia abandoned the family, John was torn by his devotion to his mother. Without the time or money to legally determine custody, Mimi took on custodianship of John and raised him as if he were her own son. John is upset by this revelation and leaves the home in a drunken anger. John decides then to move out on his own, and over time, John accepts his past, and Mimi and Julia mend their friendship and bond and become friendly again, like sisters should be. But when Julia is hit and killed by a car, an off-duty cop hit and run, John is consumed by anger, which he cannot overcome. 2 years pass, and we next find John talking to Mimi, asking her for his birth certificate so he can get a passport to travel to Hamburg, Germany, with his newly formed band, the Beatles. Mimi asks John to call her as soon as he arrives in Hamburg, and our film ends with the caption on the screen that John phoned Mimi as soon as he arrived in Hamburg, and every week thereafter for the rest of his life. Again, this is a very emotional roller coaster of a movie. Whereas Birth of the Beatles is definitely dramatized, it's not that emotional of a roller coaster. Same with Backbeat. It's dramatized, and aside from the death of Stu, which comes towards the end of the film, it's not that emotional of a roller coaster. This one, with being raised by his aunt and rediscovering his mother and forming a bond with her and learning the truth about his father and how he ended up coming to live with his aunt and his mother dying when they're finally starting to have a solid relationship again. Just such an emotional roller coaster. And then, if you know the Beatles years from having watched the 8 Days a Week documentary, and you see everything that they went through, their ups and downs, everything they were drugged through, scandals, the whole bigger than Jesus thing, the eventual breakup, all the way up until the assassination of John Lennon outside of his apartment complex. Such an emotional roller coaster here within this one. And I think it's a shame that it didn't garner more acclaim than it did. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron, does an amazing job here as John Lennon. And I don't think he definitely got the credit that he deserved for this role. You know, when people think about him, they either think of Quicksilver or Kick-Ass. This one really flies under the radar as far as his performances go, and I highly recommend, whether you are a Beatles fan or not, you give this film a look if you're a fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson, because he does such a great job in this. And again, this just goes back to what I was saying during Backbeat about how we need these type of movies to get us built up on the Beatles' legacy, but we need them from Paul, George, Ringo, Pete. We've got ones for John and Stu, but we need those other films because they will be successful. At least I think they will be. I could be alone in my thoughts, and if I am, let me know. If you're watching the premiere, tell me here. If you're watching on demand, let me know down here. When it comes to my rating for Nowhere Boy, I got to give this one 4 out of 5. I really love this movie. I think it was so good. I put it on the same level as Backbeat. I almost put it on the same level as Birth of the Beatles, which got 4.5. But considering that was the Beatles and this is John Lennon, I'm going to put it at 4 stars just like I did Backbeat. But that's not selling it short, in my opinion. I definitely think that this was really good. Another thing that I like is that this one, the actors actually performed the songs themselves. There was no cover band. They weren't lip-syncing Beatles performances. The actors who sang songs in this film actually sang the songs. The only time we heard something that was not the actors was over the end credits when we heard John Lennon's Mother, which was perfect because we had just dealt with the loss of Julia. So his song about her, perfect for the end credits, in my opinion. 4 out of 5 stars. What do you guys think? Those of you that have seen Nowhere Boy, let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave those thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Whatever you do, though, when you get out there on social media, let's try to get those hashtags trending. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course, the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade JJ Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag Statboy Approved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Make sure you guys get out there. Do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network. All the official merchandise of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood. Get you your Renegade JJ Williams shirt, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, Statboy Sports Bar, hashtag Statboy Approved, hashtag Shenanigans. Get you your official merchandise of the Jeff Meacham Network. 3 different designs of the Jeff Meacham Network logo for you to choose from, along with Talk Wrestling, Meachamania, so much more. It's still summertime. You still got plenty of time for those barbecues, pool parties, beach bonfires. Go to the Teespring store and get yourself a tank top. You can choose from my own, the Renegade JJ Williams, or Meachamania. Either one of those is the perfect accessory for those hot summer days and those even hotter summer nights. Get out there, show your love and support. While you're showing your love and support, do what that ticker tells you to do. If you enjoy my content, my daily videos, go to that PayPal, send me a few bucks as a donation. Y'all know I keep beating it into the ground. I'm not monetized yet, so the only way I'm going to make any money right now off of this endeavor is if you guys out there show me some love and support, go to that PayPal, make me a small donation. I'm trying to get my viewership hours up, but it's definitely a long and winding road right now. I'm at 400 and something hours, and I need to get to 4,000 viewer hours. So it's definitely a work in progress. Don't want to send any money? That's cool. Go to that link tree. Go to my Amazon movie wish list. Select a movie from there. I'm constantly updating it, adding new movies. When the movie that you choose arrives, I'll open it up live on Renegade Recap during my movie mail segment like I always do. Give you guys a shout out and a thank you. Likewise, when I factor it into one of my movie theme months and I can sit down, watch it and review it, give you guys another shout out, another thank you. I'll show you guys the same amount of love and support that you guys show to me. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, when we take a look at the other film starring the Beatles, although not exactly, 1968's Yellow Submarine, starring the voice talents of John Clive, Jeffrey Hughes, Peter Batten, Paul Angelis, Dick Emery, and Lance Percival. But there is a small cameo by John, Paul, George, and Ringo themselves, the Beatles, at the very end. You're not going to want to miss out tomorrow, right back here on Renegades Reviews, exclusively on the Casa D18 Studios channel, when I take a look at Yellow Submarine. And let me just throw this out here now, and I'll go more in depth tomorrow. This is the film, Yellow Submarine, that I use to expose new generations to the Beatles, because it's very easy to get them hooked early on when you're showing young kids a cartoon with awesome music in the background. It's how I've hooked many a generation in my lifetime. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. To all my loyal fans and viewers out there that have tuned in, watching the premiere, leaving your thoughts and comments over here, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Likewise, all my loyal fans and viewers out there, tune in later in the day, watching on demand, leaving your thoughts and comments down here. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all my loyal fans and viewers out there that tune in on a regular basis and join me and enjoy my shows. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys next time.